Welcome to Underqualified and Over It. I'm your host, Cindy, and joining me as always is Alice.
Hi.
In this podcast, we are over opinionated and unfortunately allowed to talk. So sit back, lower your expectations, and let's get into it.
Go, 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 go.
Hey, not bad. Not
Well
bad
done.
for someone who literally, I'm barely keeping my eyes open today. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me, but ever since my sleep schedule's been messed up, it got
Again.
messed up on a week ago. And I was so consistent for 3 weeks. And then all of a sudden now it's fuck you. Oh man.
Well,
How are you?
my sleep schedule's been messed up again, but mine's due to getting used to new medication because I finally got my
Yeah.
ass to the doctors.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have put me on some antidepressants.
But nice.
And I started off. So last week I started off on half a tablet. And then they said, right, do a week worth of half a tablet and then go up to a full tablet. So I did that. So I did a full tablet last night. And I slept, 11, 12 hours?
God damn.
And
Save some sleep for the rest of us.
And I woke up with a massive headache and immense dry mouth. So I have been drinking iced tea like it's going out of business. Because it's iced tea is the easiest way to get hydration into me in the way of seasoned water.
Yeah, because regular water is overrated.
Well, no, it's the fact of because of where I live, the water that comes out of like taps and stuff isn't great.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
hard water. And because of the taste of it, I don't like it and it makes me feel sick and I end up like my body just rejects it basically, to put it the nice way. And so I'm all right if I put juice in hard water, fine, because obviously I've seasoned it. But like I had a look at buying like bottled water to have in the fridge, and it was gonna cost exactly the same amount as me getting my iced tea. And I was like, well, I'd rather have something tasty.
Yeah.
That's still hydrating me.
Yeah, I get that.
So I went for iced tea instead.
I have the issue of okay, so a couple of things. First, I live in Scotland and Scottish people are weirdly patriotic about their water. They're like super proud of it. They're like, have a load of that. Like they'll put water in a cup for you and be like, try it. Isn't that the best water you've ever had in your life? And it's actually kind of crazy, but it is really good water, so you can't blame them. Second of all, the thing that I struggle with in my hydration, again, living in Scotland, it's relatively cold up here, so I want things that are warm to drink. So I wind up drinking a lot of coffee. And honestly, at this point, I probably should just buy decaf because all I want is hot bean water all the time. But yeah, no, so I drink like a lot of coffee because I want hot drinks, and I've tried like different types of juices and things like that, like boil some apples, or I've done even just hot water, you know. But the thing is that when water comes out of a kettle, it's boiling hot, and most of the water bottles that I have are plastic. So I need to get like a thermos, I have a couple of thermoses, but I tried one the other day and it literally was an hour and a half later, it was still boilingly hot and I couldn't drink it. And I'm like, all right, there has to be some kind of happy medium where I can get my hydration and not just be pounding coffee, because I like to drink just regular water, but I also like to have a hot beverage when it's cold outside because it's the only way my fingers stay warm. So
Get yourself a Sports Direct mug. They are massive.
I have massive, like, I have a massive, like, 2 liter thermos. It's just that it keeps it too hot for too
Oh no,
long.
this is just like uh
Stanley?
no. It's legitimately just a
Mug.
porcelain type mug.
Ah, okay. See,
But
I have a
it's
couple of
about
those.
that big.
Girl, if I had all of my coffee cups and all of my mugs that I have in a storage unit in the US, you would look at my you would probably look at me differently. I have so many mugs and they're all like I have a mug in the shape of a toilet. Like but I
I
couldn't bring
love
it with
that.
me. I couldn't bring it with me. It's in a storage unit in the US. I have a huge box full of mugs that because I like collected them, and I have one that's like I kid you not, like probably half a liter to a liter, and I'm like that, and I'll fill it
I've,
up with coffee.
I've got one about that big that
Hmm.
I have coffee in. I put 2 sachets of coffee in it because it's that big. And because I like I can't drink just regular coffee. I have to have some sort of flavoring in with it.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
get like the little sachets of like caramel lattes or whatever, or the
See,
mochas and stuff like that because I'm fancy.
I can't do like so sometimes the flavorings of like coffee flavorings make me sick. But I grew up like my dad's an engineer, my mom works in a hospital, you know, had her degree in physics. I grew up in a very make a pot of coffee as strong and as black as possible and then drink it for 2 days and like microwave it. Who cares if the coffee's 3 days old? Is there mold growing on it? No, just throw it in the microwave. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
I grew up in a very stereotypical, like, engineer, nerdy household. Um, so yeah, I sometimes people look at me and they're like, what the hell are you drinking? My sister is the only one who escaped the coffee grind, so to speak.
Pun
She
intended.
yeah. She is very much a tea drinker, but she can't do a whole lot of caffeine. So she has to get like caffeine free teas and things like that. And she bought a coffee pot. And I remember her friend came over to visit, and her friend is from Peru, where they also like really strong black coffee. And she came over to visit my sister when I was staying with her. And I was like, "Do you want some coffee?" And she was like, "Oh, you wouldn't make coffee strong enough for me." I was like, "Girl, try me." And I was like, let me make you some coffee." And I made her some coffee, poured myself a glass or poured myself a cup of coffee, and I gave her one, and she took one sip, and she was like, "We can get along." I was like, "Yeah, we can." So that was really fun, but yeah. I also like how I told you I was hungry before we started recording. I opened a granola bar, I took one bite, and then I was like, got hyperfixated on fixing all of my audio issues. And now it's just sitting here open next to me, beckoning me to eat it, but also mocking me because it knows I can't.
But eat
So
me.
now I know.
I love that. Well,
Oh, man.
I've had some what are they called? Rivita thins with a myriad of different seeds on top with some hummus.
Mm.
Um, when I actually woke up with the headache, before I actually messaged you, so actually I lied to you that when you asked me what the last thing I ate was, because it wasn't the spaghetti that I ate last night, it was chocolate cake.
For those listening, as soon as she woke up, I asked her, when was the last time you drank water and what the last thing and slash when the last thing she ate was. Just to make sure she hasn't gone for 48 hours with either of those two things.
So yeah, I woke up with this massive headache, and my partner came up and was like, "Are you okay?" And I went, "No," while like huddled underneath the quilt with it wrapped around my head. And he was like, "Do you need anything?" I went, "Number one, I need a drink. Number two, get me cake," because I knew we had cake. Because because usually whenever I have a migraine, I go for ice cold chocolate milk,
Okay.
and that usually helps.
Nice.
But I don't have any at the minute. I need to like start having a like preparation of emergency chocolate milk in the fridge or something, because I get migraines quite a lot. So yeah, I was like, go get me cake. So he got me some cake, and I scarfed that down like I'd not eaten anything in the last 3 weeks. And then I chatted to you for a little while, and then I was like, right, okay, it's time. I needed to like go to the toilet and stuff, so I went downstairs and grabbed my hummus and my thins, and had basically half the box of those thins dipped in the hummus.
Nice.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm feeling a lot better now. Let's get up. Let's get in the office and let's actually get some stuff done.
Honestly, when I was living in the US, before I moved over to the UK, I stayed that like 6 months I was waiting for my visa paperwork to come through or whatever. I stayed with my mom and dad because I was like, I'm going to be gone for a while because, it takes a minute to get citizenship here. And, I was like, well, I got 6 months, so I'll go and stay with mom and dad. And one of the things that I discovered that I really just like comfort food fell in love with was there are these like crisps in the US. They're called like Simply something, but like Simply Naked were the ones that I got. And
oh yeah, I know those.
Yeah, so if you're in the US, they're over like in the like bakery area of Walmart. I would get that. I would get the red pepper hummus, and then prosciutto. And I would, yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. It was so
you
good.
making it fancy with the prosciutto.
Yeah, bitch. It was so good. And I would just sit up there. I would eat this in bed while watching K-dramas and drinking soju, because
nice.
I am who I am. I didn't really like, my energy level is very, very low today. And so I figured I would just kind of talk a little bit about things. I've been like being like really reflective over the past week and a half or so, and like thinking back on like, as we're coming into summer, what summers were like when I was growing up in the US. And I remember I mentioned to you about how when I was growing up in the 90s, we had purple ketchup.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that was something that you guys had here as well.
Yeah, we did, yeah. For a very short time.
Yeah, I wonder, because I remember getting it maybe twice from the store. I wonder if maybe it had like some chemical compound in it that that made it illegal now to sell. But
probably.
I mean, it probably had like Red 40 or some shit in it, like.
Yeah. So as a kid, I wasn't allowed E numbers.
Oh,
which is like
okay.
Red 40 and stuff like that.
Okay.
And it was also that like there was a specific E number that they used to put in blue Smarties as well. So for a while, Smarties didn't have a blue one in, because
are you talking about the Smarties that are like the small M&Ms?
Yeah, small M&Ms. Yeah.
Okay, that's
Smarties,
different
not the
than what
other
America.
Smarties,
yeah,
because the Smarties that are in America, aren't they like chalk pellets?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, I know some things about American candy.
I have a box of them because I brought it back from America like fucking months ago. Whenever the last time I went was probably actually about a year ago. So they've been sitting in the cupboard for a year, but they're probably still good because
they'll still be good.
It's candy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I brought a box of those back, and they're not Smarties because the Smarties come in like this little tube that you unravel, and it's literally that. It's like flavored chalk, like powdered sugar candies. But these ones are like the big ones that I have.
Yeah, so for our English viewers, this is a change up. For our English viewers, so Smarties are like our Parma Violets, or what were they called?
There's also like bottle caps.
refreshers.
Refreshers, yeah.
Yeah, but there was another one that was like Parma Violets. Fizzers.
Fizzers,
So
yeah.
we have
yeah.
Fizzers, Love Hearts, and Parma Violets over here,
Yeah.
and also refreshers, because refreshers did a variety that was the chalkish candy. So that's the kind of thing that we're talking about, which is what Smarties are in America. But
Yeah.
the Smarties that I'm talking about are, yes, the M&M type coated chocolates.
They're mini M&Ms for my
Yeah,
Americans.
basically, yeah. But because as a child, I was so hyperactive and stuff, if I had any sort of E numbers, it would make me even worse. So it was like, yeah, my mum was like, no, you're not allowed any E numbers. So basically, when I was growing up, I couldn't have quite a lot of sweets and like different types of like sodas and stuff. My mum had to like check the package of every single sweet that I was buying to make sure that it didn't have the stuff that was going to make me go absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
So, for instance, that purple ketchup, I wasn't allowed because Mum had actually read on the box that it had something that was going to send me crackers. So
Cuckoo
I was like,
banana
okay.
puffs. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So no, I wasn't allowed it, but we did have it.
Yeah. It was a very, very short-lived, like very specific thing that I remember. I also remember, did you guys have Skip-Its here? Which it's a toy. So it has basically a hole that you put your foot through on one side connected to a ball on the other side, and like you would like literally skip. It was like
we still have those over here.
I'm sure we still have them in the US, but nobody buys them like they used to anymore.
Me and my partner, we were talking about old stuff like that the other day, and we both looked at each other and went, oh my god, do you remember moon shoes?
Oh my god. Moon shoes we had those in the US as well. I was always too big to play on them because I grew really fast. For those of you who don't know, I'm about 6 foot at 250 pounds. I'm a big bitch, right? I grew really, really fast. So while all of my friends were 8, 9, 10, and you're really like small, like average height and weight for that age, I was not. People always thought that I was older. They always thought, like because I was so tall. When I was 13, 14 is really when I hit through my growth spurt, but it started probably when I was like 10 or 11. So I remember my friend had these moon shoes and I tried them on and I literally broke them the first step that I took. Cause I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm over the height and weight for this ride. But yes, I remember moon shoes.
So another thing about me as a child, apart from being hyperactive as anything, I was also excruciatingly accident prone.
Yeah.
So anything that was a toy that would cause me to possibly have an accident with, that was on the no-go zone as well. So I wasn't allowed them. So moon shoes, skateboards, roller skates, basically anything where I could fall over and hurt myself.
Dude. So we had, where I grew up, there was like this big hill outside of our house and the road was paved and everything. And I remember I was really into rollerblading. And I so my mom ran a private school and we had like uniforms and everything. And so I was wearing a skirt. And I got out of the car. I asked my mom to let me out of the car at the top of the hill. Like, so she goes down the driveway, parks the car, and I'm like, I'm going to ride down the hill and then I'll come inside. She drops me off. I'm in my uniform. I start going down this hill. And I was going down it so fast and I didn't know what to do. And I was in rollerblades, so not roller skates. I was in rollerblades. And I like my legs, like my feet were like shaking, like shimmying because I was going so fast and I was so out of control and I didn't know how to brake. And so I fucking face planted, scraped my knee up, like almost down to like the tendon on my knee. It was bad. And I remember like I came inside and I was just like crying and my mom was like, "Okay, no more rollerblading on the road." Which, mind you, she probably shouldn't have let us rollerblade on the road anyways, because like the speed limit back there was 30 miles per hour. People were going like 50, 60 miles per hour. Um, so people were going mad fast. But yeah, no, it was a bad time and it took forever for that to heal and then forever for the scar to go away as well.
I bet. Jesus.
Yeah, yeah. I was a resilient kid though. I do remember that it's kind of gross, but there was like a flap of skin on my knee that I was like hoping it would heal into it, but obviously the skin was disconnected and it started to putrefy and decompose because it was like not connected to anything. And I remember I couldn't feel anything. And so me being the 10-year-old surgeon that I was, I decided to take a pair of like cuticle shears and just cut it off of my knee. Because everybody told me don't mess with it, just let it heal, just let it heal, just let it heal. But I was like, I can't feel it. It's not healing. I may as well just cut it off. So I'm sitting there at school just cutting this piece of skin off of my knee. Oh, it was so bad. Oh man. Yeah, good times. Um I grew up in the middle of nowhere in the country. And so like a lot of the things that I wound up playing with, like I didn't really like grow up in town where like a subdivision where there was like kids and whatever playing. So a lot of it was going outside and playing with like my imagination and the dirt and sticks and rocks. We had this like clay out front. And sometimes when it was really hot outside, it would get almost sandy. And I remember I built Luke Skywalker's house from Tatooine in the clay. And then I covered it with the sand because I was like, it's Tatooine.
Well, I'm kind of glad that you had a very geeky part of your childhood there. Because when, like, I wasn't exactly one of the cool kids in school, in any of my schools, right?
Right.
So in primary school, so that's like, so we had like year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6, and that's primary school.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then you go to high school, which is year 7 till year 11. In primary school, I had 3 friends.
Okay.
And within those 3 friends, I was the odd one out of all of them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the reason behind it is because I was the most neurodivergent out of all 4 of us. So I was the really weird kid.
Mm-hmm.
Who just did not understand social norms at that time, as you do. But I had these three best friends, and we used to play Harry Potter on
Nice.
in primary school on the little schoolyard. It was great, and yeah, it was really good. And one of the first times that I had like anything happen to my nose, I don't know whether I'd broken it at that point or what. But one like there was like 2 like football pitches, and the boys would use like the boys that were playing football would used to aim their footballs at us 4 in particular because we were the weird kids.
Yeah.
And one of them hit me in the face once. It wasn't great.
You've unlocked 2 memories that I was burying deep in the recesses of my mind. The first being my friends and I used to go outside and we were like the stereotypical like horse girls. We would go outside and pretend to be horses. And so that's an unfortunate thing that I remember doing. And then I remember there was this, like, we were going to this church, and after church, like, all of like the boys would go outside and play football. And I remember they were playing, and somebody missed a catch or something, and the football landed at my feet. And I picked it up, and went to go throw it back to them. And instead, I threw it straight into the back of the head of the boy that I had a crush on. And I was like, ah, shit.
Oh no.
So I just turned around and walked right back into the church. I was like, I'm not dealing with that. It wasn't me. It didn't happen. It wasn't me. But yeah, so that's fun. Did you ever have, like, I remember playing with like Polly Pockets. Do you remember Polly Pockets? They still make them.
Yeah.
Dude, I forgot about Polly Pockets for the longest time, and I was like, I wonder if I remembered it, and I was like, I wonder if they still make these. And I looked on Amazon, and they are still making Polly Pockets. It's like, holy cow.
So
I think I saw the exact one that I remember playing with.
one of the old toys that I remember, this was like friggin' I must have been like 6 or something. This is going back a fair few years. But one Christmas we all used to go around to my grandma's house for Christmas. And we were sat in my grandma's front room, and obviously we were unwrapping all the presents, and my mum had bought me this toy. And it was like like fairly big, sort of fluffy creature thing. And I'd unwrapped it and everything, and we had my great granddad and my granddad trying to figure out how this toy worked, and it was great. It was called a Wovlove.
A what?
A Wovlove. And basically it came with an egg and some other bits and pieces, and you put the egg inside the Wovlove, and then the Wovlove gave birth to the egg, and then it came out with a baby Wovlove. And it was like the stories that I have with them, like trying to figure out this creature. Like, I can't remember it, but my mum brings it up all of the time, and it's brilliant. And I found them on eBay.
Oh, really?
In like they've got mint condition Wovloves for like £50. And I've decided that when I am, like, obviously earning enough money to live my life by, and I've got enough money to buy people Christmas presents properly again, I'm gonna buy my mum a Wovlove for Christmas.
That's amazing. I love that. Did your mom ever leave you at like any big shopping centers? Like, did she ever forget you?
Yes! Oh my god,
Okay.
I've got the perfect story for this, and she's gonna kill me if she ever finds out I've told anybody about this.
Go on, tell me.
So, my mum
Tell
had,
me and
like,
everybody else.
bearing in mind, this was like a week after my birth. Okay? So, obviously, you've got all of the, like, the post having a baby hormones going off, and you've still got your brain fuzz going off, because that's what happens to us ladies when we have babies. Stuff just kicks off in our hormonal department that does things. So, she had taken me shopping, and she'd gone into a shop, and back in those days, you could just leave your baby in the pram, just like sort of outside of the shop while you went in, if it was like a teeny tiny shop.
Jeez. Okay. That's so different from nowadays.
It was still in the good times when you could do that. Like, just like 1995, you could just about get away with doing that. And she'd done her shopping and everything, went and got the bus home. She got through the door, and I think I don't know whether it was my dad had turned around and said, "Where's Alice?" Or she got home and she was like, "I'm missing something. What am I missing? Oh my god, the baby!"
Yeah.
So luckily she went back, and the obviously the shop owners had noticed that there was a baby outside and was like, "Oh my god, what are we gonna do?" So they brought me in and was like sorting me out and everything and making sure I was okay. And my mum ran through the door, was like, my baby," and then they were like, "Oh yeah, hi, sorry, yeah, you did leave your baby."
That's so
But
funny.
it's understandable
Oh
because
yeah,
of the whole
yeah,
like baby brain.
yeah, yeah. No, I think that I feel like people back then were more forgiving of things like that than they are now.
Mm,
But it's also because of the world we live in now. I
yeah.
think I would, for the first like 3 months, I would be terrified to leave the house with a baby, like period. If I had gone through that, like just in general, if I had had a baby, I probably wouldn't be leaving the house for minimum 3 to like 6 months.
Oh,
Um,
I'm doing the Korean method.
yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I
I've
will teach
looked.
you how to make seaweed soup. I will teach
Yeah,
Virus how to make you seaweed soup so that you can
fantastic.
replace all of your blood and feel very like refreshed.
Yeah, because I
Um,
looked into the Korean method. Like,
mhm.
I did a deep dive, and I went, "That's genius.
Yeah,
That is
we
so good." And that's like so. It's like really like positively feminine forward as well.
mhm.
Because it's like we need to make sure that the mum is okay. We need to make sure that she's healthy again before
Yeah.
going home and like sorting herself out and all of this. So what is it? I think it's like a week in bed with
Mhm.
the baby, a week where you can get up but you don't go downstairs, so I'll be able to like come into the office and do bits and pieces and stuff like that with baby. And then the third week I can go downstairs. But for the first month, I don't have any visitors. I'm not having my mum round, I'm not having his mum round, I'm not having any guests. It's just me
Mhm.
and him and baby, so that we're getting into the routine of having a baby there,
Mhm.
and also so that the outside germs don't get in, kind of thing. It's just our collective germs like building the baby's immune system up, which I friggin' love the idea of that.
Yeah. Well, and it's also so with the way that I understand Korean people do child rearing. Um the mom actually, like the mother-in-law, or not the mother-in-law, like so your mom would basically come and stay with you for like the first almost year to like help out. It's very, very family driven. We actually had somebody at the Korean church that I go to. They had a baby, and her mom came over from Korea and came and stayed with her for like 6 months. And the Scottish guy that she was married to, or is married to, was like, yeah, it's very different having somebody else in the house. But I mean, like she basically was like childcare for the first 6 months. Um, I know that there's a lot of countries over here in Europe that do like a year off of paid leave for the mothers and things like that, which I think is really nice. But going back to being forgotten in the store, when I was a child, I had this just I needed to see things. I needed to venture off on my own and be independent. So I must have been 3, 2 or 3, and I remember mom was doing grocery shopping and I went to go look at toys in the toy section. And there was this little Disney princess figurine thing that I really wanted. I was looking at it. And she got her groceries and went all the way home and was like unpacking the groceries. Somebody from the store had found me, taken me back to the employee's office, and they were asking me my mommy's name. And I remember telling them like her name, and like I remember hearing them announce it on the loudspeaker. And then when nobody came, they were like, well, we'll just take her back to like the employee lounge, basically, is where they put me to keep me safe, which good on them for doing that. Um, but I remember they went and got a big bag of candy, and they brought me like just one of these like big Halloween style like just mixed candies. And I remember they put it in a bag and were like gave the bag of candy to me, and I was just sitting there like picking through and like munching on candy. And then eventually my mom did remember me and came back to get me. And they sent the candy home with me. And I had the best time of my life. It was, for going missing, not bad. Not bad for going missing. Best 30 minutes of my life.
So on the nostalgia-ness, and I know quite a few people, especially our UK listeners, will understand the nostalgia of this. And there's been a lot of change in this particular place as well recently that also has kind of like triggered the nostalgia.
Okay.
For it. So the place is the Trafford Centre. And back in the 90s and early 2000s, the way that the Trafford Centre was set up is they had one like big massive area which was like this little marketplace area, and at the on the top level, because there's like 2 levels of it, at the bottom level there was like a marketplace and some like different like shops and stuff like that, and it was really interesting. And then up at the top you had McDonald's, which was one of those really old McDonald's where it had all of the characters in, and it had the characters like on a big like line going round the top and like in funny poses and stuff like that, and it was great. And then on the other side from McDonald's you had the kids play area. And it was, I can't remember if it was height restricted or it was age restricted, and I think it was height restricted.
Height, yeah.
So you had a smaller kids area and then a bigger kids area, and the big kids area was this massive pirate ship that was like the jungle gym type of thing, like the soft play area that you got to go and play in and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I was never tall enough to go in the big kids area.
Probably still aren't.
I was always stuck in the small kids area, which was like a nursery. So it was just like baby toys and stuff like that. So whenever my mum was like out shopping and stuff, she'd put me in there so that I was like just out of the way, so that I could and be entertained. But it was the fact of I was always in there with like younger kids, and I was really annoyed because I could never get in. And the year that I was actually tall enough to go into the big kid area, they shut that whole area off.
Oh no, of course they did.
They shut it down. So they got rid of the whole area and turned it into, I think they turned it into John Lewis.
Okay.
Which is really annoying. And another part of it is the food court area. So you think of a food court in a mall, basically. So the Trafford Centre was really, really stylized off of American malls. But it was also like, oh, do you know what? We're gonna make it look like Greek. So it was like it's like all of these columns and stuff like that. It's really it was fancy back in the day. It has needed some like touching up. Yeah. So in the food court, the idea of it was a cruise ship. And you had the cruise ship pool, and then there was like ships and stuff, and there was a little tiny ship in the middle of it where like the kid, like you had kids seating and stuff. There was a button in there that would like do the ship horn. No. They very quickly got rid of that because it was annoying everybody.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
And there was also a rainforest cafe in there as well.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was so good, but they got rid of that. I think there's a Wagamama's. No, it's not Wagamama's. There's a TGI Fridays where Rainforest Cafe used to be now.
Yeah, it's interesting because in the US, most of your shopping, at least my area of the US, most of your shopping is done in Walmart. Like if you need anything for the house, you need any clothes, you need food, you just go to Walmart. Yeah. And back when I was growing up, it's kind of similar to the pram story for you. My mom would just leave us in the car. Like at a certain point, right? Like she wasn't going to leave like babies in the car, but she, cuz obviously where I'm from, really really hot. Oklahoma, Texas kind of area, like it gets really hot. And if you basically don't have air conditioning on, it can go south really quickly. So you have to be able to be old enough to understand, right? We don't touch the driver's seat. We don't touch the gear shift and things like that. But we sit here and we have the air conditioning on, or we are able to roll down the windows, get fresh air, whatever. So we're not like boiling alive kind of thing. But it was me and my two older siblings. She would just leave us all in the car, and I remember I must have been like 8 or something, and it was really really hot out, and my brother had taken his shirt off because he was hot, and I was like, I went to go take my shirt off, and my brother and my sister were like, no, you can't do that, and I was like, why not? He can do it. Why can't I? A little feminist 7-year-old being like, it's hot out here. Let me take my shirt off. But I'm very grateful that I had siblings there who were able to guide me in the right direction. Going back to like toys and stuff, nostalgia wise, and kind of wrapping up here. Did you ever have a Tamagotchi?
Yeah, well, no, I didn't have a Tamagotchi. I had the cheap ass version of a Tamagotchi. It was a copy. And it was like in the shape of a Dalmatian, and it was a dog. And oh my god, right? So I had cousins. I had 3 other cousins, like elder cousins. And when we used to go to school, we used to drop our Tamagotchis off at my grandma's house. And my grandma would have to look after our Tamagotchis all day while we were at school.
That's hilarious.
And the amount of times that she killed them and just had to reset the devices and just didn't tell us about it. She came clean. She came clean about it when we got older, and she was like, "Yeah, you know how many times I killed those things?" Because we were we'd have like nostalgia moments when we were around at their house and stuff like that. And she was like, "Yeah, you know how many times I killed those things? A lot."
Did you ever have a Furby?
Yeah.
You did?
Right.
Those are two things I always wanted to have, but I never had.
I had a Furby and I had an ET that was like a Furby.
Okay.
And my dad killed them both.
Dude, I don't know what it was about the Furbies, but they scared the piss out of me for such a long time.
They were basically gremlins because they made the same noises as gremlins did.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's probably
and they just like randomly sing. But that's the thing that my dad hated. It was like, so this is the bio dad. So this was when the bio dad was still in like living with us. He hated the Furbies because they'd just wake up in the middle of the night and be like, hi. Hello, I'm awake now. And he'd be like, he'd stuff them in like cupboards and stuff. I hated
I probably would have done the same. Like as an adult now, I probably would have done the same. I remember there was a brief point in time when I was like, I must have been like 13 or 14. So I was older, right? But when I was younger, Furbies freaked me out. But when I was older, I was like, oh man, I actually kind of really want one. But at that point, they had already kind of gone out of style. Another thing I remember people having was like Bop-Its in the car because you're driving so much in the US. Like if you have to drive 30 minutes to get your kids to school or whatever, like, do you want kids screaming in the back seat? No, you don't. So I remember there was this family and they had this Bop-It in the back of their van and we would all play with the Bop-It. And the mom who was driving, she got so pissed. She was like, just turn it off. Just turn it off. Because, I mean, you're listening to da 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 da. Bop it. Twist it. Like,
pull it.
Can you imagine you're trying to drive and the shit's going on in the background? Yeah. I would get so overstimulated, but then she took it away from us. And of course, the boys start hitting each other and the girls start getting catty and she was like, you know what, fuck it, just fine, here, just have it. Just like yes.
So I remember there was one time when I'd been asking for a Game Boy for like the longest time, right? And my dad had given me a GameCube
Uh-huh.
not long before, I think.
Right.
If I've got the timeline right. I might not have, but hey ho. But me, mum, and my stepdad were on the way, like going on a flight to somewhere. It might have been Tenerife or something.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the whole like getting everybody ready and stuff and packing everybody's bags, I hadn't like put anything in my bag for the flight.
Mm-hmm.
And back in those times, there wasn't like screens or anything because it was a short flight. There was like no
Right.
entertainment on the flight because it was only about an hour and a half to Tenerife.
Yeah, yeah.
So we were in the duty free at the airport, and I'm just like looking around because Mum's like, "Oh, get yourself some snacks and all of that." So I got my snacks, and I stopped because they were selling Game Boy Advances, and I was like, "Oh, I really want one of those." And they were selling
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon as well. I was like, "Oh, I really want Pokemon. That's really cool." And my mum just went, "Do you know what? That's not a bad price. Plus, it's duty free prices because duty free prices back in the day were phenomenal because
Mm.
obviously you didn't pay
Yeah.
any tax on them." So, she was like, "All right then, go on then. We'll have one of those." So we picked up a Game Boy Advance Pokemon, and I think I got Harry Potter, the first one,
Oh,
like
okay.
as well. So I was well happy, and that basically started the GameCube and the Game Boy Advance basically started my my
I was
gaming career,
I was
shall we say?
so I was so jealous. So my cousins, I remember they got PSPs.
Mhm.
And I remember being so jealous. I wanted one so bad. Like the only thing I can think of that I wanted that bad was an American Girl doll, which like $100 for a doll. And
Yeah,
then there was like all of these like little outfits and accessories and all sorts of like little shit that you could go through. And I remember like I scoured over the American Girl doll catalog for so long because it was a catalog that came in the mail. I would go through and I would circle the ones that I wanted. And I remember I probably asked my mom like a million times for an American Girl doll when I was growing up. And then now being an adult, I'm like, yeah, I would have destroyed that thing. Like that thing would not have made it very far. But I remember we were saying like, if you get me this, I'll never ask for anything ever again. And she was like, no, it's $100. No.
no,
Um, and then so she wound up getting me a porcelain doll instead, which valid. I understand where the thought process was, and I would do little sewing projects. I would make like dresses and like so that I mean kept me entertained. But when my cousins got PSPs, I was and like they got PSPs, they got a Wii, they had like all of these different like video games and stuff. I remember being so jealous. I wanted a PSP so bad, but my parents were very avidly like against video games because they thought they were a waste of time, a waste of
yeah,
energy, and basically would create really, really bad habits in us as kids, which I mean, I get to a certain extent, but they wanted us to like be outside and like, go outside and play with the fresh air kind of thing. So that's why I never played video games until I joined the military because I just never had the opportunity to.
yeah.
And I never had the money to buy my own stuff until I joined the military. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's so many things that like I think about now that I'm like, man, like like you don't think about it, like going outside and playing with your friends. You never know what the last day that you go out and play with your friends, you don't know that that's your last day. And it's like, ah, man, if I could go back, like, is there anything that I would do differently or, whatever? And it's like, I think the closest that we get to that as an adult of like going outside and like playing like that is genuinely like people who go for runs or they go on hikes or like but to get as close to like the playfulness, people who are not afraid to just go outside and dance.
Yeah.
That to me takes the same amount of bravery to run around in a field pretending you're a horse or run around pretending you're Harry Potter. Like it's kind of just one of those things that it's sad, but it's also like I'm so glad that I grew up in that time because I feel like I don't think that from this point forward there will ever be a time like that again. Not in the US and not here in particular. This has been Underqualified and Over It.
If you've made it this far, that's on you.
Catch you next time.
I never
Bye.
answer to no man, still
Bye.
go.
Oh, she didn't forget this time. Nice.
Hey.